Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Minhal Sheikh, and I warmly welcome you all to LUMS Executive MBA Webcast. This is your opportunity to connect with LUMS and get to know more about your Executive MBA program, its benefits, and the experience that this program has to offer. So here today, I am live from LUMS with great company of people who are here to address to your queries. And I do hope that all of you are ready with your list of questions as well. So let me take the opportunity to introduce our today's panel. I'll start off with the introduction of Dr. Umair Haroon, who is sitting right next to me. Dr. Umair Haroon is an assistant professor at Suleiman Daoud School of Business. He is also Deputy Director for Executive MBA Programme. Dr. Umair Haroon is a PhD in accounting from Hong Kong Polytechnic University. Next to Dr. Umair Haroon, we have Ms. Sahar Atif. Ms. Sahar Atif is running her own fashion studio with the name of Sahar Atif, Design Studio. She is our Executive MBA alumna from class of 2017. Sahar is among very few industry professionals who has 360 perspective of both design and business side of fashion and retail industry. So next to Sahar, we have Ms. Rafia Elias, who is running her own design consultancy with the name of Tangent Scale. So Rafia also had a privilege to design the National Incubation Center Lahore, which is housed at Lahore University of Management Sciences, LUMS, and Rafia is from class of 2018. Next to Ms. Rafia, we have Ms. Selina Bey, who is a Senior Officer, Customs and Trade Facilitation at USAID. Selina is also a fitness trainer of Higher Intensity Interval Training, also known as HIT. Yeah. And Selina is our alumni. She is not our alumni. She is our current student from batch of 2019. Yeah. So next to Selina, we have Mr. Rehan Naeem, who is serving Pakistan Army in a capacity of Major. He is also heading the administration and logistic branch of his headquarters. And Mr. Rehan Naeem is our alumnus from batch of 2018. So ladies and gentlemen, at LUMS, we aim to make a difference. And we believe that such kind of online gatherings is an excellent opportunity to connect with our prospective students and provide them with a perfect chance to get an honest advice of our students, of our faculty, of our alumni, and explore different study options and admission pathways together. So without any further ado, I would like to request Dr. Umair Haroon to please tell us more about the Executive MBA program and what this program has to offer. Dr. Umair, please.
Thank you, Minhal. So, Executive MBA program at LUMS, Suleiman Daoud School of Business. It's a 22 months program focused on mid-career managers. This is a program that is going to equip our participants with the knowledge, skills, and tools to fast-track their career into for higher management positions. This is a very rigorous and demanding program. Although the design the design allows the managers to balance their life, work, and studies, but then you have to put in a lot of work and effort into this program. Although this is a demanding and a rigorous program, but LUMS does provide a lot of support and access to a lot of facilities and people and tools to facilitate your studies. This program is primarily based on a weekend model. Most of the class sessions are held on weekends, alternative weekends. There are four weeks that you have to devote full time. Otherwise, mostly it's a weekend-based program. What you get access to at LUMS is a faculty which knows the industry very well, because they have been connected to industry for a long time. They've been writing case studies, case method being the primary pedagogical method that we use at STSB for MBA and Executive MBA. So we do keep up with the industry, what's happening in the industry. So you are exposed to the latest happenings in the industry, the challenges that are in the industry, and so forth. What you get also, you get access to a peer group of people who have experience from diverse industries and with diverse experiences. That enhances your collaborative learning a lot. That is something that unique which STSB offers. So this is not an MBA which is MBA light or MBA evening. This is not a regular MBA. This is focused on people who are already at middle or upper middle level management who wish to progress to top management positions. Most of the operative information about the program that is available from several sources. So I won't go into the details of that, but we will discuss any questions or queries that you might have about the program in this session.
Thank you, Dr. Umair. Thank you so much for sharing such insightful information with us all. Ladies and gentlemen, we are open to the questions. Please start sharing your questions with us and we'd be happy to address them. So the first question that we have is from Fatima Akhtar, and she is interested in knowing that why should she choose an Executive MBA? Mr. Rehan Naeem, would you like to address to the question, please?
Yeah, sure. Fatima, the reason why you should join an Executive MBA program is because it is so multidimensional. And this is from a guy who had absolutely no background of business. Like I've been introduced that I am a serving major in the army. So I had like around 15, 16 years of experience of all military. And when I decided to actually jump into this program, I did not know what's coming my way. But I just wanted to do some capacity building. And I'm glad that I joined this program. And what this Executive MBA does to you is that in a very, very magical way, it literally transforms your personality. Because it is, and when and while you're going through the Executive MBA program, you do not realize that it's actually happening to you. It's so transparent. But after having completed the program, once you look back, you realize that literally your life has changed in a very good way. Your personality has really grown, it has developed. The kind of experience that you get out of sharing the classroom with the best of the best, may it be the faculty or may it be your colleagues. So I think the reason why I personally would say that you should join an Executive MBA program is because not only it's going to add to your academic forte, it's actually going to add a lot to your personality. And after having gone through the program, you'll realize that you actually are much better and a different person in a very good way. So I think that's why Fatima should immediately apply. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rehan. So the next question that we have is by Mr. Masood Zafar, and he is interested in knowing what's the difference between the Executive MBA and a full-time MBA. I would like to request Dr. Umair, if kindly you can address to this question.
So our regular MBA is focused on people who are starting their careers, who have had 2 or 3 years of experience in the industry. So the MBA program is more focused on developing their tools and skills for decision making at a middle level or upper middle level management. So it prepares them for transferring their career or transforming themselves from a junior position to a middle position and eventually leadership position later. Executive MBA program is designed and delivered very differently from an MBA program. It is focused on delivering or equipping the participants with the skills to make decisions using the tools or the skills that they've already learned. So, for example, in terms of, let's say, accounting, in an MBA program, you would learn how to do accounting, how to do the technical nitty-gritties of accounting. But in an Executive MBA program, the focus would be much more on how accounting information is used in making strategic decisions. It's how it is used, how to talk to accountants, for example, and how we can use this information for competitive advantage. So the focus is entirely different in an executive MBA program. So it's, again, I would like to repeat, it's not a regular MBA. It's the kind of participants we expect are different. The kind of delivery that we do is different. The kind of tools that we use are very different in an executive MBA program compared to a regular MBA.
Thank you, Dr. Umair. So the next question that we have is from Mr. Khurram Hassan, and he is interested in knowing if it would be possible to do an executive MBA if he is not living in Lahore. So I would like to request Ms. Serena, because you belong to Islamabad, and I think you could be able to address this query.
So Khurram, I come from Islamabad every alternate weekend, and it is absolutely doable. Not necessarily for the love of the brand LUMS alone, but also the kind of platform it provides to you. Coming from another city is no hassle at all for the experience and exposure it provides to you. I'm not sure if we've spoken about the globalization module, but if I were to answer Fatma's earlier question as well, another very important element of this EMBA program, I feel, is the globalization module for all of you who are interested in the EMBA program here at LUMS. In that, you get international exposure of these big brands that you use on an everyday basis just as a consumer. So you visit their offices, you get to interact with their staff, you get to learn from the very best. So I think the globalization module of the EMBA program is another very, very important aspect for me as a student, really, to consider this as a very good opportunity.
I would just like to add to what Serena said. Serena is coming from Islamabad, but I would like to take this opportunity to tell Khurram and all the people, all the audience who are looking at, watching us right now, that distance actually is no barrier.
Certainly.
Because we had one of our colleagues who used to travel all the way from Hyderabad.
That's interesting.
So I mean, compared to Islamabad, I just wanted to give this information out to everyone that Islamabad still feels closer, right? I mean, and we had a colleague who was so keen and so determined, and it was a source of inspiration for us as well, that he used to travel every alternate weekend all the way from Hyderabad.
So that's very true. We also have a class fellow who drives from Thar to Karachi first, then takes a flight to Lahore for this program.
I think Rafia has been jet-setting.
I've come from Saudi Arabia for this.
Oh, really?
It's worthy. It's worth the cost.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I hope Khurram must have got satisfied with, the kind of response that he has got from our alumni. So the next question is from Mr. Farooq Naseem, and he is interested in knowing how does a typical executive MBA student looks like. I would like to request Sahar if you can kindly take up this query.
So I think the class overall, I think there's a large number, the proportion of men and women is not balanced, which I sort of regret. I feel there should be more women stepping up. The average MBA class is someone who's above 30 and usually below 50 or up to 55
Between
also.
30 to 50 years.
30 to 55, I think, because the batch junior to us had some very senior people also. So I'm very, that's something that I'm very proud of, that LUMS is addressing adult education at various levels, and I think that's just great, because all over the world this is a subject that's not ignored, however, in our academic circles. Besides that, the girls are very pretty, like all of us. The guys are kind of okay. They're also, all of them are, they're high-level managers, bringing in a lot of experience, and yet it's a lot of fun. It's not that since they're professionals and they're coming from a senior level, it doesn't mean that they've lost the element of fun. Once you enter the gates of LUMS, you're a student, and that kind of shifts. There's a complete paradigm shift. It doesn't matter if you're an executive MBA with your child in LUMS studying. You're a child yourself once you're here.
So I think it would not be wrong to say that our student body is a mix of professional skills and soft skills with loads and loads of experience, All right, so the next question that we have is from Minahil Basit, and she's interested in knowing how is the curriculum structured for the Executive MBA program? I think Dr. Umair would like to address
Okay,
to this question.
Minahil, this is again, as I said earlier, a primarily a weekend-based program. It starts in around July and August. In July and August, you take two things. One is an online course offered by the Harvard University that attempts to bring people from diverse backgrounds on equal footings in some technical skills like finance and accounting and communication and so forth. Then we have what we call a summer orientation program, which is in-house at LUMS. Again, the idea being to deliver the basics of decision making, for example, mathematics or accounting, so that people from different backgrounds have come to an equal footing as well. After that, you have 5 modules of learning at LUMS with 3 courses each. And during those 5 modules, you also have 4 more online courses, again from Harvard University, before the start of Module 2 and Module 3. Idea being the same. Most of the classes are held at LUMS from say 8:30 a.m. to around 4:30 p.m. There would be 3 times where you have to be on the campus for a whole week. At the beginning of your Executive MBA, towards the end of third module in the first year, and then an internationalization module where, or a globalization module where the students go to Silicon Valley and are exposed to companies like Google and Facebook, and exposed to universities which are renowned for innovation and technology. Towards the end of year 2 in the 5th module, you are again here for 1 week. Other than that, mostly it's weekend based. 5 modules of 3 courses each of studying on campus. But while you are not on campus, you are constantly in touch with the faculty, you are constantly working on projects, assignments, preparing for the classes. So even though you may not be physically here, you are constantly being supported by faculty and staff at LUMS to fulfill your educational needs.
Very quickly,
Yeah, sure.
Manahil, one quick disclaimer here. In the first 10 days of the summer orientation program, you might think the world is coming to its end, but if you get through with it, you will be just fine throughout the module. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Selena, and thank you so much, Dr. Umair. So the next question that we have is from Shoaib Khan, and he's saying, I have 13 years of experience in asset management and CFA charter holder. Do I need to take GMAT? If yes, what's the average score?
The average score varies from year to year, but its average is around 400 for the GMAT score for the incoming class last year. There is no minimum requirement for the score, but it demonstrates your commitment towards the program. Everyone who's applying has to take the GMAT regardless of the educational background that you have. And in addition to that, there are no exemptions or waivers of courses that you have to take. So you might think that having so much experience in the financial industry and being a chartered holder of CFA, you would want to skip classes for corporate finance, for example, or finance classes. But I can assure you that the learning that you have in those classes would be much more, because you get to know how non-finance people look at financial information, how they use the financial information in those industries, how the financial information is being used. So it's always a learning experience for me as well whenever I teach in Executive MBA, because I get to meet people from so many different backgrounds and so many different industries. So even if someone offers a waiver or an exemption, you shouldn't really take it.
Can I add
Yeah,
to
sure.
that?
Yeah,
At the
sure.
cost of defaming myself, I would like to say that the GMAT is LUMS's requirement. Having said that, I had 15 years of experience when I came to apply to LUMS. My GMAT score was 270, upon which I was told that एक Hall of Fame
This is
होता है,
the news.
एक Hall of Fame होता है, for you we shall make the Hall of Shame. But I graduated with a very decent GPA, and I think that their criteria is not GMAT. It is just, they create that barrier to entry to make sure that you're serious about the program. And if you have the experience behind yourself, if you're bringing diversity along, they're going to take you in. I mean, I did fairly all right during the program.
Yeah. So we do understand that students who are applying, they are from, it must have been quite a time since they have been in touch with the studies, and we do take into consideration this fact. And like Dr. Omer said, that in our Executive MBA class, we have students who have an average experience of as much as 13 years. So, I mean, GMAT is not the only criteria on which we are going to, assess your admission application. So the next question is from Mehek Rahman, and she is interested in knowing, could you tell me about how a student is taught while being enrolled in the Executive MBA program? Rafia, would you like to address, please?
They're taught like any other regular class. Normally we discuss cases, so we are not in a lecture-based system. We're basically in a case-based class where we are discussing the class is basically discussing the case, and everybody has their own opinions, and they share their experiences about the case, and if they have related experience in their own field about it. And that's how everybody comes into, basically, they come to a conclusion where somebody's experience might actually lead to a solution of the case. So that's how it's done. It's pretty easy and very simple and very interactive.
Can I add to that?
Yeah, sure, why not?
So I think that LUMS is, the Executive MBA is the only program in Pakistan which is case-based. And I think there's not a lot of awareness about what case-based is, which means that the faculty doesn't walk into class and lecture you on a topic per se. They throw towards you a real-time story of a company at a certain point in time. And that is how the discussion is opened, and that is how the curriculum is sort of targeted. And by the end of the case, which is about 90 minutes, you're supposed to read the case at home, come prepared. You spend half an hour in the discussion room where you have your peers, 6 to 8 people of diverse experiences, and you brainstorm on it. So there may be an accountant giving an accountancy sort of a perspective, or a marketeer, or a salesperson giving various sort of throwing lights from various angles, and then you come into class and you are 35% of your grade is coming from class participation, which means that if your memory is not on your side, you're not being tested on an exam. You're not being tested. If you are being tested on an exam, your cheat sheet is allowed with you. So that means that कि बुड्ढे जो हैं सारे अपना मतलब no worries. 35% is your participation in class, and then with the cheat sheets, it's a breeze. It's no problem.
All right, Manal, I would also like to add, and I would like to, although a lot has been said about the case-based study, but because it's something new to people, and we have grown in an environment where it's all lecture-based. But let me tell you, after having gone through a 2 years program, which is all case-based, my personal experience and the experience of my peers tells me that it's very, very liberating. And why it's liberating is because the choices are open. It's not like you're not looking at things from a perspective of the teacher or the professor. You're actually looking at things from your own perspective. And these are cases which have been real life challenges and situations in companies like General Electric, like Starbucks, the cases that I'm trying to recall, Ford, and everything. So the masters of the business who have really made a name for themselves, we actually kind of got to live those moments and all those challenges that came their way. And that actually triggered a lot of thought process, And the best part is that the professors and the instructors, they mostly do not give you a solution. So that's why I say it's liberating, is because they are actually trying to generate that thought process, which is actually going to help you once you yourself land in the business environment where there are challenges. Where as executives, you are required to make decisions and take decisions. So this case-based study, I think, is the best format for an executive MBA program. Because see, we have at the background 13, 14, 15 years of work experience, and then our prior education, on top of that. So if we were to just be lectured, I think that kind of mental stimulation would not take place. And trust me, Mahek, that this case base, if you're going to enroll in executive MBA program, you'll see how it is going to literally open up those vistas in your mind which you never thought existed. So the case base for me is like absolutely top notch.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rehan. So this is how we claim that our Executive MBA program is a rigorous program which focuses on collaborative and applied learning techniques, and the responses that we have just got from our alumni is a proof of our claim that we have been making. All right, so the next question that we have is from Hajira Yasir, and I think Rafia would be in a better position to address to this query. Let me raise the query.
Okay.
She is currently heading a unit in pharma industry, and she wished to switch industries, and she is interested in knowing how will this degree help her, particularly at such a senior level.
Well, it depends, because from one entrepreneur endeavor to another, basically you will learn the business skills. So it may help you decide better where you want to head. So you will learn the tricks and the trades of the business, and where how it's linked throughout the system. And it's going to help you guide and learn the tricks, as well as know which way to head. For example, I'm an architect, right? People ask, why am I doing an EMBA program where it's not even related to architecture? But for me, this helped me decide better on how, for example, if I'm going to go into a furniture business, how I'm going to source my resources, and how I'm going to target my customers, and how to define the pricing and everything. So it opens up your mind. It gives you an exposure to every kind of business industries that there are, and gives you a clue to which way to head.
Thank you so much, Rafia. So the next question that we have is, the student has recently done a BSc in Actuarial Sciences from University of Karachi, and he have 3 years of work experience. So he's interested in knowing about the experience requirement for the Executive MBA program. Is he fulfilling the experience requirement for it?
The minimum requirement is 6 years of experience, of good experience, and experience does have a lot of weight in admission decisions as well. So for now, you might not be eligible to apply for EMBA, but you might consider regular MBA as a full-time student.
Dr. Umair, if you allow me, I'll just like to share with the audience why is it so, because people might not get discouraged, that,
Sure.
From a student's perspective, again, like I keep repeating this, that for me, Executive MBA was literally a life changer, because I had 15, 16 years of military experience, right? I had no business background at all. But the reason why they say probably that you need minimum 6 years of experience is because there is mutual learning going on. We learn a lot from the peers. So it's like, there were so many moments in the class once, the discussion was carried forward, or the solutions were coming from our peers, because we had people from automobile industry, from textile industry, we had people from Mobile Inc. and all, we had an architect and everything. So not to discourage you, but it's just that you would really feel, even if they just allowed admission right now even to you, you would feel left out, because you would not be able to contribute as much as the others would be doing. So that's why the minimum experience is 6 years as per their policy, so that you could literally be useful in the class and be able to contribute. So just another 3 years to go, and then you're all good to go. Yeah.
Thank you, Rehan. All right, so the next question is from Fiza Murtaza, and she is interested in knowing about the funding opportunities that are available for the Executive MBA students. So she is asking, what are the funding opportunities for people who cannot afford the degree? And she believes that she have the qualifications, but not enough finances to manage.
So there's no guarantee for a funding availability for EMBA, but we do have a contract with MCB where they can provide a loan up to 1 million rupees, which is repayable after you finish your degree. So for now, there is a possibility, but no guarantee for a funding opportunity.
All right. Thank you
And
so
I do think in some cases,
Yeah.
if you're working for an organization that encourages education while you're with them, you could also maybe come via that channel, because we do have a few students who are being sponsored by their own very organization to undergo this EMBA program.
Thank you, Selena. All right. The next question is from Mohsen Iqbal, and he is interested in knowing if he can pursue his Executive MBA after doing an MBBS degree.
For sure, yeah. You do fulfill the criteria in terms of educational requirements, which is 16 years of education, and MBBS does give you that. So in addition to that, you will need to fulfill the experience requirements and GMAT requirement before you can apply for the EMBA.
Also,
yeah.
go ahead.
And we would, I mean, in terms of our preference for diversity in the class body, definitely our school would be much more interested in people from diverse backgrounds, especially medicine and allied sciences.
Also, while we have spoken at length about the prospect of maybe getting promoted within your organization, going up your career ladder through this EMBA program, I do want to bring in one important factor that this EMBA offers, and that is the entrepreneurial spirit. It'll definitely, kind of bring that in. A lot of business managers do not necessarily aspire to just go up the ladder in their own organization. And this EMBA will definitely unleash your entrepreneurial spirit. And from the aspect that you are in MBBS already, I'm assuming opening up a clinic would require the skill set that this EMBA would offer to you. So a good combination, definitely.
I would also like to add
sure.
what has been said. Like we talked about distance not being a barrier, likewise your background has absolutely nothing to do with what your future prospects are as far as the Executive MBA program is concerned. I would actually like to throw a name here. I know of a guy called Amar Yassin. He was an MBBS, and the reason why I'm sharing this with you is that he actually ended up getting a gold medal. So that's kind of a challenge to you, maybe, if you want to take it like that, or actually the kind of, the way LUMS and Executive MBA takes you into its fold, that even if you are from the MBBS, the program is designed in a way that it will carry you through. And so Amar did it. He got a gold medal. He's
LUMS Executive MBA is a go-to degree for you. So the next question that we have is from Mr. Ahmed, and he is interested in knowing how many days will I need to take out of the office to complete the Executive MBA program?
So, Ahmed, there would be 3 weeks that you would need to take time off from office. One at the beginning of your program, one to US, to Silicon Valley. They spend around, so the class size is 35 students for the last year, and it stays in that vicinity. So it's by design, we like to keep the classes from 30 to 40 students, not more than that. Idea being collaborative learning, participative learning, so that we can have opportunity to learn from each other as much as possible. So we try to keep the class sizes to around 35.
Thank you, Dr. Umair. So the next question is that we have is from Mr. Abid, and he's interested in knowing, do I need to be a manager if I'm planning to apply for the Executive MBA degree?
The requirement is 6 years of experience, out of which 4 years should be a managerial level experience. some of your part-time experience might be counted towards your experience requirements, but at least 4 years of managerial level experience, which is part of the 6 years total requirement for the experience. So at least 4 years of managerial experience is required.
All right, thank you. So the next question that we have is from Mr. Bakhtiar, and he is interested in knowing where shall I be staying because he doesn't belong to Lahore, and where he shall be staying while over the weekends. Selena, if you would like.
So Bakhtiar, I come from Islamabad every alternate weekend, and I stay at the
Rousing Executive Development Center.
It's the REDC here. Very good facilities, almost like a hotel really. But then I think they also give you the option, if your budget does not allow to stay at the REDC, you can always opt for the hostel, I believe, right? So yeah, you have two good options here. The regular student hostel or the executive residential complex.
Thanks, Selena. So the next question is from Hamid Afridi. And he's asking, does a person face problem if his background is not from business study? How tough will the program be for candidates who are from non-business background?
Can I take that?
Yes, sure.
So I came with a degree in fashion, which in many ways meant that I had not touched mathematics after class 8 even. So I was challenged, hence the very low GMAT score, but it has nothing to do with what your previous degree is. And I think that this is the beauty of the program, that there were people with me who had done their MBAs and were doing a second MBA. So even if you had that degree, LUMS will make you unlearn everything and you relearn as per current dynamics of the industry or the best business practices at the moment. So with what I thought was my shortcoming, because my degree was in design, was eventually turned out to be my strength, because I added diversity to the classroom. And I think that it is better if your chances of admission are higher if you are coming from a non-business, if you are coming from a diverse background. Your contribution in class, you're the outlier then. You're not the typical manager coming from Shell, Mobilink, and you are the outlier and you are adding so much more to the classroom versus all those who are coming with the standard business and engineering degrees.
Thank you, Seher. So the next question that we have is from Numan Anjum, and he is interested in knowing about the admission criteria for applying to the Executive MBA program.
Yep. So the admission criteria is 16 years of education requirements. If you have a degree which you might you are unsure about, we might require equivalent certificate from HEC that your education fulfills that 16 years of education requirement. In addition to that, there is an experience requirement that you must have at least 6 years of experience in industry. Doesn't matter the industry and doesn't matter the role. As long as you are in a position to make decisions at a managerial level, it could be your own business actually. In addition to that, you need to take a GMAT test before you apply for the admission to EMBA. There is no requirement for a minimum score, but then it shows your commitment towards the program. So these are the requirements. So once the applications come in, we shortlist candidates based on these 3 criteria for interview. The interview is basically to judge your ability to add value within the class environment. How much can you contribute to the learning of other participants in the EMBA program? The more diverse experience, the better experience, more interesting experience that you've had, and the ability to communicate that experience to others. That is what we are looking for in the interview.
Thank you, Dr.
Yeah,
Omer.
yeah, yeah.
So the next question that we have is from Mehrunissa Arf, and she is interested in knowing about the assessment criteria, like how students are being assessed during a normal semester.
Marunisa, the assessment criteria varies from course to course, but generally a good component of the assessment criteria is class participation. How much did you contribute to the learning of other people, other participants during the class sessions? How much did you contribute to analyzing the case studies that you have? So almost all courses have a good chunk of weight given to the class participation. Then you might have exams. Some courses have what we call a written analysis of case, where you are given case studies and you have to provide a written analysis of those. And then other courses might have some quiz components and any other assignments or projects. So there is no uniform criteria, but generally class participation has a good weightage of the total assessment that we have.
Can I
Very-
request one of our alumni to please add to what Dr. Omer just said?
Yeah, I think so. He's given you like the breakup overall, which kind of varies from course to course. But the most important thing that you're basically being assessed all through these modules is how prepared you come to class, because they do not want to be wasting anybody else's time if you were to just randomly, kind of come up with flukes of your own. So they really want you to put in that effort while you're away from LUMS, read your readings, because they're all handpicked by the professors. So yeah, your preparation beforehand, before you step into that class, you have to be prepared for what you're coming in for, really.
And Mendel, adding to
Yeah.
what Sarina is saying, it's all relative as well, So there is a lot of relativity, which makes sense, because let's say if all have come prepared equally, so there has to be a distinguishment. How are we distinguish the one who is contributing better, which is assessed, like Dr. Omer said, on the basis of class participation or the quizzes or anything. So the relativity actually adds the distinguishment in a way that we are able to distinguish the better prepared or the better students who end up getting the HPs, and then there is a middle bulk. And then they're the ones who might actually have been very good as per their understanding, but still the rest were better prepared even as opposed to them. So they kind of get those LPs and the lesser grades. So I think this relative criteria of assessment, again, it really adds to the beauty of Executive MBA, because we are literally finding out the best amongst the best.
Also, I think so,
Yeah.
adding on to what he just mentioned, that's exactly what this EMBA is going to offer to you. You're going to, of course, absorb a lot of new course content, the current business practices per se, but then what is this program going to leave you with? With excellent confidence, because nobody else is going to speak on your behalf. You have to speak on your behalf, really. So I think that kind of confidence that not necessarily everybody has coming in, but going out, everybody kind of goes with that. Very, very, a confident personality as a professional.
Can I add to that?
Yeah,
Can we
sure,
do
sure.
that? So I was very concerned about the assessment part of it, because my memory fails me all the time, and I thought that I would not be able to sit through an exam. The 35% of class participation means that if you're well prepared, your notes are right in front of you, so you're, stealing, that's a steal right there. And then the open book exams and the cheat sheets, they make the assessment process very easy. They recognize that they are targeting, the faculty recognizes that they're targeting an audience which is older, with failing memories, with very little time to memorize
And
what
who
is
have been
expected.
away from academics
Right,
for quite a
and
long
we're
time.
kind of going back to our lives for 2 weeks and then coming back, so retention is an issue. So LUMS makes it very, very doable. If someone like me could do it with no background, I think everyone can do it.
So I think to sum it up, if you allow me, the kind of response that has come on the assessment question from the faculty and from the alumni or the students, I think you can rest assured that the assessment system is absolutely, in its place, and it's very, very credible. Yeah.
Thank you everyone. All right, so the next question that we have is from Wasim Nas, and he's interested in knowing how are the courses covered when classes are conducted over every other weekend? What is this supposed to mean?
Course, probably what Wasim is trying to ask is how can we cover the contents of courses when the students are over here only for the weekends. So one, because we use a case method of learning over here, the students are given reading material and case studies to read before they come to the classes. So it's not a lecture method. The students are well prepared over the 2 weeks that they have. When they come to the classes on weekends, they have already gone through the readings, they've already gone through the case method, case studies that are given to them. And what happens during the class sessions is not lectures, it's just discussions on the case studies that the students are already prepared. The focus is on how, if you were in a decision making position of that case study, if you had to make decisions based on the facts of the case, how would you go about it? And then the students and the faculty, they learn from each other that in these kind of situations, how can we apply the theoretical ideas coming from the textbooks or other experiences to this particular situation, and how would we go about making decisions. So again, it's not coverage is not an issue because we are not going to lecture during the class sessions. So it's more of a self-study. The content of the textbooks, for example, that is mostly left for the students to do.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Omer. So the next question is from Hamid Afridi, and he is interested in knowing what kind of technical skills and soft skills are required to enter the LUMS Executive MBA program.
As far as the technical skills are required, there is no hard and fast requirement. You could be a doctor, engineer, architect, military man, anything. So the minimum criteria is 16 years of education. That could be in any field, in any area that you may be involved in earlier. In terms of soft skills, because we are using a case-based pedagogy throughout the 2 years that you will be here, the skills that you require, one is communication skills. How can you deliver your ideas to other people effectively? The skills that you require, most important is listening skill. For example, are you willing to accept ideas which may differ from your own and construct an argument around it and rebut it? So it's more to do with learning from each other. So you have to have respect for other people, you have to have respect for opposing ideas, you have to have respect for the general classroom environment. So communication skills, both listening and speaking, communicating your ideas, both written and more importantly verbally. How can you communicate, how can you convince people of whatever your position is, argument is. If anybody, yeah, sure.
Sure.
Okay, go ahead, Lisa.
So I think that the reason why I sort of managed, I mean, I didn't struggle so much, is that I was an avid reader, which is something, unfortunately, we as a country, we don't, as a nation, we don't read. So that is something that really helped me. And then the fact that I had some public speaking experience. So communication also is a very right. So I think that these were two things that were my competitive advantages in class, because the rest of the class was engineers who are used to managing the back end of things and not used to taking the forefront. So they would पढ़ाते वो मुझे थे और जाके बोल के मैं आ जाती थी और सीटी मेरी लग जाती थी, and they'd be so upset.
No, but I think I do agree. So in terms of soft skill, in my opinion, comprehension is most important. And communication, once you get in, you will learn along the way, really. It will give you ample opportunity to kind of up your game in the communication department.
Practice and improve
because that's what you're required to do literally day in, day out here at LUMS.
And rest assured, our faculty is there to take care of it. Of
I
all
would
the
like to add though that you know, when they were asking about assessment, people should not fear the assessment as such, because no matter what your grades do come out at the end, you are still a lot more equipped at the end of the course. You're much stronger, you're more confident, and you make decisions as like any other better student in the class. Just that you weren't scoring well in class, perhaps. But I mean, so don't get scared of the grades. You know, they're just there for the temporary time you're there.
Just make sure you do not get a lot of LPs.
Yeah, yeah, survive the
good.
LPs. Yes.
Thank you, everyone. All right, so the next question is from Mr. Waleed, and he's saying, I am 40 plus with 15 years of work experience. I am planning for MBA, either Executive MBA or full-time. Some of my friends, LUMS alumni, are suggesting to go for full-time regular rather than Executive MBA. Please suggest what should I go for? He seems confused.
Yeah. So, for the last year, the average class experience was 11 to 12 years. So you'll feel right at home in an MBA class. But the decision of whether to go for a regular MBA or an executive MBA really depends on your goals and objectives. So as I explained earlier, regular MBA has a lot of focus on developing skills and tools that are needed to develop information, for example, to extract information out of data, to make things. But then executive MBA, the focus is how to read those things, how to read the information that is produced using those tools and ideas. So it really depends on whether you want to sharpen your skills in terms of data analysis, for example, in terms of communication, in terms of marketing or sales. So MBA would give you a lot of tools and skills which are used by managers. But then executive MBA gives you the tools and skills to make decisions based on those the information that is provided, the situation that you are in. So it's more of a strategic nature, the executive MBA, more of an entrepreneurial nature. MBA, regular MBA, the focus is again on developing skills for the people, but not so much on strategic decision making that we focus on in EMBA program.
I also
Yeah,
do
sure.
feel, I think a major factor would be whether or not you have the luxury of time
Yeah.
to just pause all that you're doing in your
Exactly.
professional work and focus on your education. If
Yeah.
you think you can't do that and you have to continue earning, of course, to kind of fund your EMBA, then an EMBA would make sense. My father
Yeah.
is an example. He was class of 97 regular MBA after I think he took retirement as a lieutenant colonel from the army. So yeah, kind of depends on what works for you.
So can I just,
Yeah, sure.
while I was at the executive MBA, there were some teachers and some courses that I just loved and I wanted to study a little bit more of them. So I took permission from Ehsan Saab and Zahur Saab and I sat through the MBA classes. So the difference in the classroom is fairly stark. The students, the maturity level
Yeah.
of the MBA class is, I mean, to me, that was just a bit below the line. I felt that the executive MBA was where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
Like he said, that you were not wasting yourself on daily decision. You were looking at the longer perspective of things. And I also feel that the amount of competition, because it's a younger group of people, so they are, the grade is like a do or die for them, whereas in the executive MBA, the grades, LUMS does sort of cultivate a sense of competition, but the grades were secondary and the learning was primary.
Primary, for sure.
Thank you, Sahir. Thank you, Selena. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is all from our side in terms of our executive MBA and the questions and queries that we have received so far. I would like to thank Dr. Umair, our honorable panelists, for sparing time out of their busy schedules and joining us today here for the LUMS Executive MBA webcast. Dr. Umair, would you like to share a final note with our prospective executive MBA students? Any advice that you would like to share with them?
Advice do apply, but In terms of why you should go for an EMBA, again, it gives you access to a lot of things. It gives you access to a group of peers who are from different backgrounds, who are willing to share their experiences and willing to help each other learn different things, as Sahar was earlier talking about. The program gives you access to faculty who mostly has a finger on the pulse of industry. We do keep in touch with the industry. We keep up with what's happening. We write case studies on the industry. So it gives you a kind of cutting edge of what's happening recently in our local context and internationally. It also gives you access to a lot of information and a lot of ideas that come from the West. Because we use several case studies from Harvard and Stanford and elsewhere, it keeps you abreast of what's happening elsewhere in the world as well. So it gives you a global perspective rather than only a local context. So it's a good mixture of what's happening in industry in Pakistan, in South Asia, plus what's happening globally. So it gives you a very different flavor from a regular MBA. So it helps you make better decisions. So a decision like whether I should go for EMBA or MBA, these kind of decisions you would face in the case studies during the program. So eventually it will not only transform your career, it will transform your personality as well, positively.
Thank you, Dr. Umair. I would also like to thank our audience for being with us, who has joined us online. In case any of the query remain unaddressed, you can always reach out to us through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and email. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your time. It was a brilliant experience for me, even hosting this webcast.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.